Hello, everyone, to another episode of How to Speak Cancer, the podcast. For everyone who has been joining me from the beginning of the podcast, I deeply apologize for this long gap between the last episode and this episode. Life has been busy and a lot has been going on. But here I am talking about how you can detect and prevent cancer today. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this because I think that many people wonder and are afraid. We hear cancer everywhere. There is more and more cancer news and more, uh, yeah, higher and higher numbers. So let's see today what we can do to detect cancer and what might be helpful to prevent cancer. So let's start with early detection and why checkups matter. I know this, depending on which country you live, is very different. It varies a lot between even Sweden and Germany. I have written the book How to Speak Cancer, and I've translated it into Swedish and German as well. And I figured when I updated the sections about resources and also check up frequencies that it varies a lot, even though we are in the same on the same continent, but still it's yeah, it's quite a big difference. So I was surprised actually that the difference is so big. So everything I'm saying here is something that is recommended. It's a mix of all the countries that I've lived in, and you have to check in your country where you live how the checkups are done and how you can appoint for those. And yeah, let's just talk to your GP, and he or she will know best, I think, what you can do, or online resources. In my book, you find lots of resources as well, tailored to the American UK market in the English version, and also a wider view into other parts of the world. In the German version, of course, it's for Germany, and in the Swedish version, it's for Sweden. And there are more language combinations coming, so they will all be tailored to the broader market. All right, let's talk about breast cancer. So, what can we do? We all can do the clinical breast exams, or the no, this was wrong, the self exams at home. So there are tutorials online. You find lots of descriptions how you can best examine your breasts, in which position you have to hold up your arm. You have to kind of look through not your breasts on different sections. It's not hard, but you have to know. Also, what you shouldn't forget is to go up, right up to your arm, because there are lymph nodes which can also be affected, and many women forget about that when they do their self exams. Of course, there are clinical breast exams as well, that when you go to the doctor, then the doctor will do it. It's, again, it varies a lot, so I won't say any time frames here. But when you go to your GP, ask who is responsible, and how often can you get a proper check. Here in Sweden, it's a nurse doing it, helping you when you do the smear test for HPV. So you can then ask the nurse as well if she could also teach you how to do it. Yes, and then we have the mammogram, which is another very common method to X-ray your breast. So your breast will be squeezed into this mammograph, and then they will make pictures out of different angles. And if Very often you find something there. I have been in that position as well, and then I got really frightened. But it's often just a cyst or other yeah, density issues that that it's not always cancer. When you get a call that you have to come back and they have to redo the mammogram, please don't freak out directly like I did. Just try to calm down. There are many reasons. Sometimes your breast tissue is very dense, then they just want to do a follow-up ultrasound. In my case, we did an ultrasound and then they found something that looked suspicious. So they punctured it and then it turned out to be a cyst. So I was completely frightened for a cyst, which was then nothing. So they just took out the fluid and then it was gone. So do the mammogram, but remind yourself if you get the call to come back in here. I think the rate was every second to third woman gets called in again because they find something and then they want to check up, which is a good sign because they could just ignore it, or just be more wide with being like tolerance. We check in another 2 years ago again. Um, but yeah, I really like the approach that they look very deeply into the matter. Yeah, so breast cancer is one of the most common cancers in women, and some men also get breast cancer. So be aware of that too. We talk about more about the symptoms of breast cancer in the next episode. Right. Let's go to cervical cancer. That's also a very common cancer. It has been, but now thanks to the vaccinations we can do, it's been reduced a lot. And yeah, we should do more and more. I have recorded a med talk, which is one of my other podcasts, where we go through cervical cancer and HPV prevention in depth. So you can also find that under Med Talks with Catherine. There is, I will link that to this podcast as well if you want to get real in depth information. So you can do the pap smear test, which here in Sweden we get invited to every, I think it's every 2 years, but again it's very different. There are more and more developments also that those tests can be made available for people to do it at home, and then they send it in it because it's not very difficult to do it. It's just in different cultures it might be embarrassing, or women might not like to go to the doctor or not have the opportunity to go to doctors. So this, I think, is a really good development to offer those tests at home for like a home test. So the best prevention here is the vaccination against the HPV. Again, more information on the other podcast, very in-depth information there too. Today, this is just supposed to be an overview of what you can do. We have the colorectal cancer next, bowel cancer as well. It's also something, a known term. It's a very common cancer disease, mainly in elderly people when I nursed, but I see it coming more and more often in younger people that says under 50. I've seen through my career now also as a medical communicator, I hear more and more stories about younger people. So this is in most of the countries, the screening begins too late, in my opinion. I know that we're pushing forward, especially in the US. I heard they are trying to lower the age of when they start with the screenings. So there are different ways of screening for bowel cancer. We have the stool test, which we can give to any laboratory. So here it works like you go to the doctor, you say you would like to do the stool test, and if you reached a certain age or have certain symptoms, then you will get a testing kit home, and then you will do the test at home, and then you will bring it back to the laboratory. They will send it in, and what they are looking for is for blood that you don't see. So very often we have patients that say when they go to the toilet, then they see blood in the toilet right away. Then this is mainly hemorrhoids. It's very often not something to really worry about. Something it's easy detectable and easy to treat. Whereas what we are looking for in colorectal cancer stool tests is blood that you can't see. So when you have a tumor further up your bowel, the blood will be mixed in the feces. So you don't go to the toilet and see the blood immediately. It will be mixed in the stools, which is why you have to give it to the laboratory. And there are also certain rules what you shouldn't eat before you do the test, and so you don't you don't get a false positive result. So this is very common in the Western world, at least I'd say. Um, we then also have the colonoscopy, which can be it's a bit more. Yeah, many people are afraid of it, but once you have done that, it's actually not as bad. I've had it a few times, and I survived. And these days, at least I know in Germany, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Germany you get a propofol, which is a medication that calms you down and you sleep during. It's not a deep narcotic medication, but you have you rest and you won't remember what happened. So yes, it gets better and better, more and more comfortable compared to 20 years ago. Also, how you prepare for the colonoscopy. But again, this is something that is depending on age, country, and symptoms. So you got to talk to your GP about it. Right, let's jump to the prostate cancer. Is another very common cancer type. We do PSA checks in the blood to detect that, which can also be positive when you have a prostate infection. So the PSA is just one indicator. You can have a positive PSA, but then no prostate cancer. It's not meant to be the only test. Also, what is in the prostate cancer prevention, you go to the doctor and he will do a rectal exam. That means he will see if the prostate is enlarged or not, if it's too big or bigger or unusually formed, and that together with the PSA will give a picture. And if there is anything suspicious, then the doctor will go get you through more scans and more diagnostic methods. Right. So also again, depending on age and symptoms, very different when this is offered in different countries. But talk to your GP. It's definitely worth a look. Then we have the skin cancer, which becomes more and more prominent also in the numbers. How often we see that. Also, that is very depending on the country you live in. Here in Sweden, we don't have as much sun exposure as in other countries, as for example in Australia, where the rates are much higher. in skin cancer, what you can do is you always should protect your skin. I'm not saying that it's very personal. Only put on a lot of sunscreen. I'd rather recommend, if the temperatures allow, to stay covered as much as you can. Um, but if you can't, you should protect your skin otherwise. Um, look, talk to your dermatologist or your GP. And then also, what I think is very important is to get the skin cancer checkup, especially if you have many moles or spots on your skin. It's in Germany recommended to go every 2 years to a skin check, and it makes a lot of sense to catch early any moles that behave differently. So, for example, when I was 16, I had a very tiny mole here, and they checked it with like a little um, magnifying glass and said, "Oh, we need to take it out." And then we saw that there was a precancerous, yeah, cells here. Nothing happened. They cut it out. Everything was good, but I was only 16, and I didn't live in a country with a lot of sun exposure. So since then, I am really keen on, yeah, checking my skin frequently, because the earlier the better. The earlier you detect anything, the better it is. Right, let's jump to the lung cancer. Lung cancer prevention. Lung cancer is one of the most frequent cancers we see. Um, the prevention here, it varies a lot. For example, in Sweden, there is no lung cancer prevention unless you have any symptoms. So it's not that you go into early checkups frequently. I remember in East Germany before 1990, it was mandatory to have a lung X-ray every year. Doubtful how healthy that is, but right now I'm not aware of any frequent lung cancer screenings in Germany. But again, it's always worth asking someone, especially if you smoke or you live with someone who smokes, to talk to your doctor. There are low dose computer tomographies, which is LDCT in short. So we don't have a lot of radiation, but we can still scan the lungs. For high risk people, as I said, people who might have other cancers, we can check on metastases, or people who are supposed or working under conditions that might put you at higher risk to get lung cancer, or as I said, smoking and so on. So again, ask your doctor. The earlier, the better. The earlier we see something, the better we can treat it. There are more checkups we can do. For example, if you have a liver infection, a chronic liver infection, it's called hepatitis. You can be more likely to get liver cancer, so you should also check on those values in your blood, especially if you work, for example, in healthcare. You should always be vaccinated against hepatitis. Again, different countries, different regulations, but think of it, don't forget about it. Also, if you have, we come a little later to this, in your family, high risk, for example, you have a mother and a grandmother or a sister who had breast cancer very early age, then you should have in mind to check certain genetic markers in your blood. It's called BRCA1 and 2. They are well known to cause cancers in young age, ovarian cancers and breast cancers. yeah, there are more and more studies coming out there too. So yeah, think about your family history, and also always have your family history in mind. Talk to your parents, and just, yeah, be cautious what happens, not just for cancer, also for heart diseases and diabetes and all this stuff. Westerly conditions, I call that, because we see that mainly in Western countries. All right, so what can we do to prevent cancer as much as possible? We can't prevent any cancer or every cancer. We can pre- help our body to live as healthy as possible, and to stay healthy as long as possible. As I said in the beginning, the rates are skyrocketing. This has to do with more frequent screens as well. So we just find scans, oh, find cancer earlier and more often because we scan more. But also, I am certain that life choices can be made that prevent us from getting it earlier than others. Because often the question is not if we get it, but when we get it. So when cancer was more of an elderly disease when I started my nursing studies, now it's, as I said it a few times now, we are getting younger and younger. So why would that happen? I think mainly because of the lifestyle. This is my very personal opinion. We are supposed to eat healthy, fresh food, plant based, eating as less meat as possible. I like to, for example, eat fish a lot, which has a lot of omega 3 acids, which are then again very good for our body. On the other hand, the regulatory authorities found out that red meat seems to be a driver in cancer development. So many years ago, when I was going through many diets and choices, I was eating a lot of red meat because everybody said red meat is really good. Also for women, because we have a lack of iron. I think the whole nutrition issue can have an own podcast. For I think personally it's very hard to find the right way to eat so you can enjoy your food, but also follow the many recommendations we see. Try to find your own way and to eat as plant based as possible. We can, for example, really easily exchange cow milk with plant alternatives. There are so many out there right now, at least in countries like Germany, Sweden, the US, UK. There are many options. Another thing is to move. Just don't just be a passive person sitting most of your life. Move as often as you can. You don't have to do extreme exercising, but take the stairs, go for a walk every day. I mean, we have our bodies to move. We don't have a skeleton and muscles to just hang around in some corner. So this prevents you not just from cancer, but also from other diseases which are very westerly, like yeah, heart attacks, strokes, all the common things that happen very early: diabetes, um, hypertension, so high blood pressure. There are many diseases you can actually prevent by eating healthy, moving daily, Staying hydrated also is very important. Drink, 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 but of course not sweet drinks, and also not a Coke Zero, because there is just a lot of other chemicals. So I drink tea all the time. Summer, winter, I always drink tea, herb tea, which helps many, yeah, issues, or prevent many issues in my body. Uh, just find the right drink for you. Please don't drink Coke Zero or any other zero um, drinks. Very personal recommendation here, but I'm just really not a fan of those. Of course, not Coke or any soft drinks like that, because there's a lot of sugar in there. Even juices, reduce them to like 1 glass a day, because there's also a lot of sugar in those juices. And we tend to say sugar feeds cancer. Basically, as I said before, the whole nutrition thing, is lots of informations out there, and you need to find your own way to cope the best you can. I think about smoking, I don't have to say a lot about that. We all know smoking is very unhealthy and we shouldn't do it. Also, vaping, which is very common now, also in young people's, and all kinds of other drugs. Try to reduce the drug intake as much as you can, also painkillers, or if you have a lot of conditions like mentioned hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, and so on, try to do it. Try to prevent taking the pills and then instead live healthier, because you can do so much and you can avoid so many pills. Every pill has also a side effect, and things we don't want. So be cautious about that. Right. Um, I talked about family history before. I think I don't need to exaggerate that again, but know it, have an eye open for it. These days, we are much more aware of things than, let's say, 40, 50 years ago. My grandmother didn't even know what my great grandmother had. And then you can't follow up on your family history. But try to stay informed, and talk to your family about issues. Very important for me is to say, we are coming to the end here now. You should always care for your body, because your body is the thing that keeps your soul on earth, and that makes it possible to, yeah, to see nice things, to travel, to move through the world. So you should take care of it and embrace your body, your physical body, but also you shouldn't fall into a complete control freak about everything, because then life is not fun. So prevention isn't about controlling every single step of your life. It's about caring for your body as you would do for your garden. You know that I use garden metaphors a lot when I speak about cancer. So here we go. My body is my garden, and I tend to care for it, because I want my garden to be healthy, and I want my garden to be, yeah, just a nice place to be in, and I want my soul to have a nice garden to live in. And I really enjoy moving myself through the world, so I want my body to stay healthy. I don't, even though it might have sounded like this, I hope you didn't feel offended when I talked about nutrition. I know it's very hard to find your way. I'm struggling with that for almost 40 years now, finding my best way, going from extremely vegan to now a mixed diet where I'm plant-based on fish, in between cheese and meat again. So I know the struggles really, and it's not about blaming anyone. It's just about finding the right balance, so that your mind, your soul, and your body is in a good balance. So if you have to say no to everything that you like, then your soul won't feel well. So I don't want to blame anyone here. Many cancers we can't prevent anyway. For example, blood cancers, there is nothing that we can do about it. If we get it, then we get it. And but we can try to care for our garden by, yeah, using not polluted water, for example. Um, Small actions matter, not perfectly, but over time. What do I want to say with that? It's exactly that. Don't get into a panic mode and be like, oh no, I have to change my whole world, my whole life. I have to eat completely different, and I have to now I have to do a sports routine every day. And if you jump into those big changes, it won't last. Try to change little things um, continuously. So, for example, if you like to drink Coke Zero, try to drink less and less, and exchange it with just water or tea. I know many people don't like water. You could, for example, thinnen your drink as, yeah, more and more until you reach the point where it's basically water. Could be something. Small changes in a long term will do you better than a big life change, which you can't hold until, let's say, 1 or 2 months, when the motivation goes down, and then you fall back into old routines, and then you feel bad about it. And so try to stay, yeah, stay positive, and do it in a reasonable frame, which you can, yeah, hold on to. Right. So this is for today's podcast. I hope you learned something out of it, and I hope you have some food for thought. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me. My website is www.katrinkunze.com. Or if you have any comments or any discussion points, I'm happy to discuss anything. I'm always on a learning road too, so everything I'm saying is not the end. I love to learn, and I love to also learn about your perspectives. So if you find something you want to discuss, get in touch. If you want to get a more deeper knowledge of cancer itself, you're more than welcome to go through my growing blog on my website as well. You see that here in the slides is www.katrinkunze.com/books/how to speak cancer, and there you will find the blog as well. Many topics I covered already, but there's way more to come. For now, I stick with the podcast recording. All right. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next blog or podcast. Bye. Have a wonderful day.